Hello, everybody. Hey, I thought I'd jump on here to chat just for a minute about a pretty common question that I get asked by busy executives, doctors, CEOs, business owners. And it's this: Steve, I train hard, but my body isn't changing. Now, have you said that before? Is that something that you have ever felt? You're working out really hard in the gym, you're pushing yourself, you're lifting, you're doing cardio, maybe you're lifting every day of the week, and yet you look in the mirror and nothing has changed. Well, I want to address why that is today. And I want to give you three things that you need to consider when it comes to changing and transforming your body, especially if you're training hard. Okay. So here are three OKRs that I need you to know. So when we talk about OKRs, the objectives and the key results that you're going after in business are very similar to the OKRs that you're looking for in your body. So three things that you need to be aware of. The first is you're not consistent with your program. Every time you go into the gym, it changes. And you see, this is the difference between training and working out. I want you to think about it like this. In business, you have a strategic plan that you're executing. You have tactics that you're going to adapt every once in a while, but the tactics don't take you away from whatever the strategic plan is. If you go away from the strategic plan, the plan is no longer the plan. And it's the same in your workouts. If you've moved away from the plan and every time you go in, you're working out, what's going to happen is your body will not know how to adapt. You see, the body responds to what we call the SAID principle, specific adaptation to imposed demands. Now, what specific adaptation to imposed demands or the SAID principle means is that whatever demand you place on the body, it will adapt to. And so while you may be working out hard, your body isn't changing because you're not putting a consistent stimulus into the body that forces it to get stronger and to look different. Now, the second thing that happens with most people that I see that are making this mistake is that you're not accountable to your progress. You aren't tracking your progress day in and day out in the gym, and you're just not tracking what the week-to-week changes are. So in order to look different, you have to have some sort of progression. Now, we'll talk in what that looks like in just a second. But I can tell you right now, if you are skipping accountability in this part of life, you will never see the changes in your body that you're looking for. You could go into the gym, you could work out hard, and without tracking your workouts, you will never see long-term success. Makes sense in business. I know you get that, but it's got to make sense in the gym as well. If you don't track and you're not accountable, you will not see any changes or any long-term growth. Now, the final OKR that you need to be aware of is that you have to understand what progress looks like. Now, there's three ways to progress. When you go into the gym, you can think about it like this. So let's say that I'm doing a squat and I want to improve in my squat. Well, I can take that squat that I did last week, and let's say that I was squatting 200 pounds for 6 repetitions, and I go to 205 for 6. Well, if I'm doing 200 one week and 205 for 6, and I can maintain that 205, or I can continually move up week on week, what's happening is I'm getting stronger. I can do the same amount of reps with heavier weight, so obviously I'm getting stronger. Now, the second way to progress is to take the same weight. So let's say that you're doing 200-pound squats and you were doing 6 repetitions before, and next week you go in and you do 7. The next week it's 8. The next week it's 9. The next week it's 10. And then if you want to go back to improving your strength and you go from 200 to 205 and you go back to 6, and you can progress up from there. So you're either lifting the same weight for multiple reps, or you're lifting heavier for the same number of reps. Now, the final way to progress is something that it doesn't feel good for those of you that are data oriented. If you're the type of person that likes to check the boxes, you get into work every day and you go through your dashboard and you're looking at the most important numbers of your day, you absolutely hate to see numbers that stay the same, that are flat, or that even go backwards. And so this one is going to be tough for you, but you got to trust me on this, okay? Just give it a try. I've got several of my executive clients where it took me a little bit to convince them to go in this direction. But then once they did, and they realized that skill is so important, they have to double down on this technique, then they started to see long-term progression. Okay, so we've already said the first two ways that you progress is you lift a little bit heavier, or you take the same weight and you lift it more times, right? The third way is you increase your mind-muscle connection. I can't tell you the number of people who have been lifting for years in the gym. And as soon as we teach them how to lift correctly, how to change their technique and focus on the muscle that they're going after growth in, that they almost come to this realization that, wow, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to get stronger, how to get better in this particular area, because I'm doing a bench press and I realize that I don't even know what it feels like to have a pump in my chest or my shoulders or my triceps or whatever it is. I'm just trying to throw the weight up there. And so the third, probably most important way that you can progress is to focus on that mind and muscle connection. Now, this is an especially effective tool on a day where you're coming into the gym and let's say that you don't have a lot of energy. I always talk about energy in three different ways. You either come in to the bell curve where 80% of your workouts are kind of in this mid-range zone where you feel like you have normal energy. And then about 10% sit over into the bucket of where you had very, very poor energy. So it was an energy day where you didn't sleep very well. You were busy over the weekend. Maybe the kids had some stuff going on and you come in and you're in that 10% low energy, or maybe you're at the 10%, or maybe even 5% over here where you have just massive energy. You feel like the Incredible Hulk. Well, most of the time you're going to come in with that 80% just normal energy. So on a normal energy or even a low energy day, focusing on that mind-muscle connection can be a great way to see progression. All right, so let's recap real quick before we talk about, because I know that this seems very simplistic. You're training hard, but your body isn't changing. Well, again, the three OKRs that I need you to focus on are: number one, you're not being consistent with your program. It changes way too many times. Number two, you're not being accountable with your progress. And number three, you don't even really understand what progression looks like. So either you're not lifting heavier, not lifting more reps, or you're completely off with your mind-muscle connection. Now, if you've checked all of those boxes, let's say that you're consistent with your program, you're consistent with trying to push progress, and you understand what all three of those areas of progress are, and you're still not changing, you might be getting stronger, but you don't look any different. Well, that's where we need to talk, because that's where your nutrition is not supporting your goals. You see, in order to change the way your body looks, you can't just go into the gym and work out hard. If that were the case, every sweating person in the gym would look phenomenal, would be amazing. But that's not it. You have to be able to train hard. You have to be able to then go to the kitchen and get the right foods that are going to help you to build the muscle, drop the body fat, so you develop the shape that you're looking for. So if you're in the first boat where you're working out hard and you haven't checked those three boxes, go do that first. If you've done that and you're still in a situation where your body's not shaping up the way you want it to, reach out to me. Let's get a 15-minute call to determine where your bottleneck is right now. You see, what I do is I help executives, doctors, CEOs, business owners to create their best body and to do it in a time that works for them. Because as a business owner, you're too busy to go do a 2-hour workout. You can't do that. You're too busy to sit around on Sundays and meal prep. You probably got family stuff, right? You're going to church related functions. You got way too many things to do the standard bodybuilding fare. And so what I do is I coach executives, I coach doctors, I coach CEOs, I coach business owners to get into the best shape of their lives, but do it in a way that works for them. So if you've checked the boxes of the three OKRs and you still are not seeing results, let's get 15 minutes on a call and check to see where your bottleneck is. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll talk soon.